Guys, I'm thoroughly excited for this one, baby. We are ranking all the competitive guns since Black Ops 2. So it wasn't an easy decision about like what guns to add and what guns not to add to the whole ranking system. So I decided not to do snipers or pistols just because they're all kind of the same for the most part. There's a few better ones, a few worse ones, but they all kind of fill the same role in competitive Call of Duty for the most part. And I don't snipe, so I've never had that much experience with snipers in competitive myself. So I just decided to leave snipers off the list. Pistols are kind of irrelevant for the most part, except for some games that are obviously pretty good, like some of the Black Ops 3 ones. Anyway, I decided to leave them off. They're not as fun and exciting as the actual guns that are used the most in competitive. And so we're going through all the guns: Black Ops 2, Ghost, AW, Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, World War 2. And Black Ops 4. Did I forget one? I don't think so. Anyway, we're going through them all, and we're going to see which guns we think are the best ones and which guns we think are the worst ones. Before we actually start ranking, I know the intro, I know half of you guys are going to skip this, but before we start ranking, the qualifications for how I am ranking these are basically going to be based off of how dominant they were inside of their own game. So I can't compare how the AN-94 would be against the SOG from Black Ops 4. I can't really compare that. So I'm going to compare basically how dominant they were inside of their own games and go from there. And, I might include a little bit of how fun they were, but for the most part, it's going to be based off, how dominant they were in their own games. That's why I don't have a garbage category, because for the most part, all of the guns that are used in competitive are the best guns in the game. So it's a weird comparison where I'm not just ranking all the guns since Black Ops 2, because then first of all, we'd be here for an hour. And second of all, then we would actually have some garbage guns. But the competitive scene, or CWL, or the pros, they basically only use the good guns from those games. So it's hard to say that any of these guns are just straight garbage, because for the most part, they're all pretty solid. So with that said, we're going to finally get into ranking the guns, all right? So welcome to all you guys who just skipped the last 2 minutes, and now we are doing this. So we're going to start off right off the rip here at the bottom, I think, and we're going to start off here with the MTAR from Ghosts. So I think this is definitely it's a middle-of-the-road gun. I wouldn't say it's OP, it's not elite. It's probably in the good category because, the Vector was in that game. It wasn't the most used SMG for the most part throughout the year, but it was a good gun for sure. And Nade Shot, he's the classic silenced MTAR running through tunnels and hiding in corners, but he's kind of known for it. But overall, the MTAR was a solid gun. I would put it right in the middle. It's in the good category. Next up, we got a nice gun. It's the M8A1 from Black Ops 2. That's got to go. That's got to be slotted straight into the elite category. I don't think it's OP because some of the guns in that game were nasty. The AN-94 and the SMGs in that game were really good. And so it was an amazing gun. It really was. But I'm not going to say it was in the OP category, but it's just below it in the elite. I think its brother in Black Ops 3 might be a little bit better than it. So a little spoiler alert for the future. So the next gun is the K-Bar from IW. I think, again, slots right in the middle. I would say it's probably a good gun. I don't think it's an elite gun because, again, the NV4 in that game was godly. And so it was always kind of the second tier AR in that game. But it was a good gun, but I wouldn't say it was elite or great or OP, but for sure. So I would slot it right in the good. It definitely isn't worse than that. So 100% in the good category. The ICR from this game, Black Ops 4, is a tough one because the guns in this game are interesting. The Maddox is really good, and I think it's better than the ICR. So either I put the Maddox in OP and the ICR in elite, or the Maddox in elite and ICR in the ICR in good. I think I'm leaning more towards that for now, unless I have a change of minds. The next, few guns, I don't know where the Maddox is in here. The next handful of guns, I'll probably leave ICR in good. The PPS H is next, and man, the PPS H is a great gun. It was nasty in World War II. We saw what damage Kenny could do with this gun. It's gonna get slotted right in the elite category. I just think overall, compared to the BAR, the FG, the STG, the FG was nasty, but it's not part of this list because it was only used for 1.5, 2 events. I can't remember, 2 events. Maybe it wasn't used the whole year. So the whole point of this was guns that were used for almost the whole year are the guns we're trying to rank for the most part. The PPS H was an awesome gun. It was good at short range, mid range. You could even beam guys at long range in World War II because the time to kill was pretty quick. And so Overall, I love the PPSH. It was an amazing gun in World War II, and I think it totally deserves to be in the elite category. Oh man, the Black Ops 3 M8. This has got to be our first OP gun, dude. This gun was godly. I hope you guys all remember how good this gun was, because, I mean, Black Ops 3 wasn't that long ago, but my goodness, this gun was an absolute laser. One burst from literally across the map. Fringe, you can get one bursted from across the map. One guy be sitting in grandma's, one guy'd be sitting in barn, and you'd get one bursted. It was disgusting. It's definitely one of the best guns of all time in COD, when it comes to competitive especially. And I mean, search and destroy, nothing was more frustrating than playing Redwood and on those plats out there and getting beamed off of headies or in doorways by the M8, man. And in the hands of the best players, it was unstoppable. And the thing about Black Ops 3 was that there was like the veto system, or like the ban system with all the guns. And so there were a lot of guns that were used fairly consistently in that game. That's why there's going to be so many Black Ops 3 guns in this tiers list, because so many of them were used. And Black Ops 2 actually had a lot of guns as well. AW had the least variation, just to say that. But overall, the M8 from Black Ops 3 was insane and totally worthy of the OP category. Now, this is a fun gun. The Bulldog from Ghost was a very fun gun. I mean, okay, it's a shotgun, all right? So it was used for a lot of the time, but it wasn't used that often. It was mostly used on, oh gosh, Sovereign, right? The indoor map. That's like the most common place to rush with it, was up in that top middle area. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's the map name. I'm blanking at this point right now, even though I just did a map tiers list video like a week ago. Anyway, this gun was really fun. I'm gonna put it in the okay category though. I kind of just hovering over the okay category. I just think it wasn't bad. It was a good gun. It was, in certain situations, it was very viable, but you know, for the most part, it did a certain job, it did a certain role, but it was by no means insane. We're going right here with the AK, which I think is interesting as well. So basically in Black Ops 4, I decided to keep it in here. It's not used that much. It's either meh or K. I'm going to probably put it in the meh category. Like, it's fine, but the ICR overshadows it so much in almost every single map, except for frequency, where pros might use it instead of the ICR in a few situations. So I think overall it's fine. It does a certain role as well, just like the Bulldog, but it's kind of just meh. Oh, baby. Next up is the BAL from AW. This gun slots straight up in the OP category, dude. Both guns in AW. I mean, the ASM one is insane. The BAL, insane. Both guns were so much better than every other gun. Basically, no other gun was used the whole year. Obviously, there was the occasional HBR pulled out, but besides that, it was basically just the BAL and ASM1, and the BAL is godly. That gun was insane compared to every other gun in the game, and 100% OP. I mean, it's weird to call a gun OP when it only played against other guns of its type. Like, the BAL only basically played against BALs. The ASM1 only basically played against ASM1s. But there's a reason for that, and that's because it was insane. Oh, man, the Msmc. I love this gun so much. It's either an elite or OP. I really want to put it in OP. I mean, okay, it's an elite gun. It's an elite gun. It's an elite gun. It's hard to say it was OP, but it was incredibly good. Like, it might deserve to be an OP. I don't know. I might change it by the end, because I love that gun so much. It was one of my favorite guns ever in Call of Duty. I had so much fun using it the whole year, and absolutely a blast. It's an amazing gun and just tons of fun overall. So I'm going to keep it in elite for now. We'll see if it gets bumped up into OP, depending on how I feel about the rest of these guns. Oh, the next gun's the NV4 from IW. It's either an OP or elite. This gun was godly as well. When you had a, like, what, Formal, when Formal had the NV4 in his hands, he was a god. I'm gonna say goes in OP, man. That gun's nasty, insane. Like, its range and its ability overall in IW was so good. It was so dominant and allowed for so many players to make massive, just insane plays with it. So overall, I'm gonna put it in the OP category. It could be in the elite category. I would be fine if somebody put it in the elite category, but I'm going to say it fits in that OP category. Oh, baby, the Vector from Ghost. The Ghost Vector was awesome. This might be the Vector from Black Ops 2, though. The picture, I'm not sure. But the Vector from Ghost, I'm going to slot it right in the elite category. It was an awesome gun. Basically, everybody either used that or the MTAR. You know, and I definitely think the Vector was slightly better than the MTAR for most of the year. I mean, I think at some point it got buffed, I think, during the year, if I remember right. This is going to be foggy memories. But I think it got buffed at some point during the year, and that's when it became, like, definitely better than the MTAR. So overall, awesome gun. I love it. I'm going to slot it in the elite category. The Bar from World War II. Now, this is an interesting case because I can see it going in the good or okay categories. Is it okay? It might be okay, man. The ARs in World War II were interesting because there were so many changes throughout the year. I'm just going to put in the okay category for now. There were so many changes throughout the year because the FG was insane for a while. So, like, first of all, if the FG would have, like, been what it was the whole year, I bet it would end up in the OP category. But it only existed for, like, what, 1 or 2 events maybe? And so that gun was insane. Then there was the STG, which we're going to talk about, I think, here in a second. Where is it? Yeah, it's coming up pretty soon. Here in a second, which is, you know, pretty decent. And then there's the bar. So I think the bar and the STG are kind of similar in a lot of ways. Either they're both good or they're both okay. But I think when it comes to like dominance, neither of them were that dominant. The bar was good at most ranges. And like up close, it was pretty competitive with the PPSH was what made it really good. But overall, it was just really, you know, on the same level for the most part with the STG, which is why it's hard for me to put it in like a good category. There was another AR in the game that was very competitive with it for the whole year. I would say not all of it, but for a lot of it. And then the FG was the God gun for a while. So I'm going to say it goes in the okay category. That was a long explanation, but I'm going to put it in the okay category. Fine, it is. It's okay. Next up is the Maddox, though. And I think the Maddox is insane. It is legitimately really incredibly good. Like, its versatility of the SOG versus the ICR, like Black Ops 4 might have the best balance. I'm gonna put it in the elite category because I think Black Ops 4 has debatably the best balance of 3 guns in almost any COD. Because like when it comes to the SOG, it has a very distinctive advantage at close range versus the Maddox. The Maddox has a very distinctive advantage at middle range to the SOG and to the ICR, and then the ICR has a very distinctive advantage at long range to the SOG and the Maddox. So I think that balance overall plays out real nicely in Black Ops 4, and I really like it overall. And I think the Maddox is incredibly good, and maybe after a few more months, it could be seen as an OP gun because of how good some of the Maddox Slayers have been this year. So it's possible it can move up into the OP category by the end of the year. But right now, sitting here in June, I'm going to say it's an elite category gun. All right, well, the ASM one's going to go join its buddy, the BAL, right up here in the OP category. Because, I mean, think about it, man. Those guns were so good compared to every other gun in the game. Like I said earlier, these guns were nasty. The ASM one, I mean, it would melt people. It was an absolute melt machine. And it's totally deserving of being in the OP category. It's nasty. And, I mean, just go ask Scump and all of his fellow SMG players from back in AW, and they'll say it was pretty dang OP. Next up is the Shiva from Black Ops 3. I wasn't sure if I wanted to add it in here or not because it wasn't used like a ton. It was used more in like this, you know, some like the slower quote-unquote paced respawn modes. And I would say it's going to go in the okay category. I mean, in pubs or like when you had rapid fire on it, like say when you were playing ranked and rapid fire didn't get banned, it was OP, man. The thing was insane. Insane. And it was the most annoying thing ever when rapid fire didn't get banned and then the Shiva didn't get banned, so everyone was using like rapid fire Shivas. Dude, that was so annoying. But overall, it's probably an okay gun. It does a certain role very well, and that's why I'm going to put it in okay. Oh man, the Scorpion from Black Ops 2. This gun was nasty, and like Scump was known for dominating with it. And I think there's like a famous clip of like Parasite saying Scump was OP, and then Scump like just dropped like 40 plus kills on him with the Scorpion. I think I'm gonna put the gun in elite. It was an amazing gun. I personally loved it so much. There's probably an argument for it to be in the good category, but in the right hands, there's an argument for it to be in the OP category. So I'm gonna slot it right in the elite category, right in the middle, and I'm very happy with it being in the elite category. Oh baby, the Remington from Ghosts. This is another gun, man. A lot of these guns I want to put in the elite category. This gun was awesome. This gun was so fun. It was a really, really fun AR from Ghost. I'm going to put in the elite category, man. We have a lot of guns in the elite category. This is a weird looking chart right now, but I truly believe that's probably where it deserves to go. And that was an awesome gun back in Ghost, man, and worthy of being in the elite category. Next up, we have the STG. So like I said before, I think this goes right in the okay category with the bar. It was fine. The PPSH was, I feel like, personally, by far the best gun last year. And overall, besides on like maybe a few situations on certain maps or maybe in CTF in certain situations. But overall, the STG is probably like, I think right in there with the okay with the bar. Oh man, the ERAD from IW. If I remember right, it wasn't used technically the whole year, if I remember right. It got buffed at some point. I think I'm gonna put it in the good category. I mean, by the end of the year, it was really good. And some of some of the sub players loved it. But personally, I'm not an IW fan. I've said this in my other previous ranking videos. So I might have like a few wrong rankings. For people who love IW, maybe they think it's an elite gun or something, but personally I'm just gonna put it in the good category. Not my personal cup of tea, but you know, it is what it is. Oh man, the VMP from Black Ops 3. This could be an OP gun, dude. This gun, just because of how its range and it's like how fast it shot plus its range, it was so good. And like, there's just clips of some guys just destroying people with it. I'm going to put in the OP category. I'd have no problem somebody putting in the elite category. But overall, I think the VMP was an awesome gun. And for that fact, I'm going to put in the OP category. Speaking of the OP category, the FAL, I mean, back in Black Ops 2, the FAL was wild. I mean, for the fact that it was like semi-automatic and its time to kill was still crazy. And then there was still like the ability in theory to like make it rapid, to make it full auto, right? And that was like the whole thing with like Crim and everything. I think that is just the meme of it alone probably deserves to be in the OP category. And I'm just gonna leave there. Why not? So the SOG is another interesting case. I would say it's it's a good gun, but I would not say it's an elite gun. The Maddox is elite. The SOG is good. Yeah, I'm totally fine with that. Just based off how this game plays and, you know, where it is right now, I think the SOG is a good gun right there with the ICR, but the Maddox is undoubtedly the best of those three. Anyway, the AN94 is next. This is an awesome gun as well. Just such a fun gun, man. This probably also deserves to go in the elite category. Overall, the gun was so much fun. Just classic. The sound of the AN94, I can just hear it. Like that, like, oh man, such an awesome gun. Black Ops 2, worthy of being in the elite category. Next up is the Man of War from Black Ops 3. This was also a pretty solid gun as well. It's either in the okay or the good category. I don't know. I think I'm gonna put it in the good category. Man, I'm gonna put it in the okay category, but it was definitely solid. Like in situations, it was good. Like, and there was places where you could potentially use it over the M8, but for the most part, the M8 was just so good that it overshadowed the Man of War. But again, I could be totally fine with the Man of War being in the good category because I personally love that gun a lot. But I have no problem with it being in the okay category as well. The HVK is the last one I decided to add in. That's from Black Ops 3 again. It was used somewhat often. I think like what in I feel like in Uplink it was used pretty often or somewhat often. Just again based off vetoes because people use guns. I'm gonna put it in the med category. It was fine. Like again, it's the AK used in certain situations just to be a variation to the other ARs and give you a slight advantage in just certain situations. So, I mean, it's fine. It's okay. I guess it's probably just going to be mad, though. There it is. That's the ranking system. It's not as nice of a bell curve as most other ranking systems should be. But again, it makes sense because these are the best guns from every single game. The competitive guns are the ones that, you know, are the OP guns of pubs. The competitive guns are generally the ones that are the best guns in the game. So it's hard to call, like the ICR meh or okay. Like maybe in comparison to the M8 from Black Ops 3, the ICR is kind of like meh. The SOG in comparison to the VMP from Black Ops 3 is meh or whatever, you know, but like it's still good. So overall, this is a pretty fun ranking video. Drop a comment down below for what rankings you guys may want to see next. I'm totally down to do more of these. I really enjoy them. So if we can think of more to do or want to do others in the future, I'm considering doing a COD Pros like Legends ranking. But I feel like that's really risky and could bring even more hate than the previous videos. I don't know if I want to do that or not. We'll see. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. If you guys really enjoyed it, share it. But as always, guys, my voice of SalvationsElite, and we'll see you next time. I'm out.